Brits are sick and tired of divisions over Brexit after Boris Johnson's attempts to reopen old wounds this week, the shadow Foreign Secretary has said. Nandy accused the Prime Minister of setting back the country's global reputation 3 years in 3 short days with his plans which would break international law. The Labour MP warned the public were very scared about a second wave of the coronavirus crisis this autumn and wanted the government to focus on getting that under control instead. She claimed that people did not trust some of what ministers were asking them to do on COVID testing or lockdown measures. Ahead of Labour's virtual conference, Nandy admitted that the party, which remains behind the Tories in the polls, had a long way to go. We have to recognise how much trust we lost in the country, and how it will take some time to turn around, but I think people have started to pay attention, she said. The Wigan MP told the Mirror that the secret to winning back dozens of red wall seats Labour lost at the last election was to be more rooted in local communities. Westminster is far too much of a bubble. We're starting to learn again how to draw on the assets we have all over the country and be rooted again in the grassroots, she said. You have to be interested in what people have to say and in the realities of their lives. Close quote. But she claimed the Tories did not know or respect voters in many of the seats they won at the last election. They don't really understand the people they've just won the right to represent, she added. You could see it from the day Johnson took office and tried to stoke division over child refugees, when they tried to ignite culture wars over statues or LGBT rights. People in towns like mine do not like nastiness. They're decent people and they want to see governments who behave with decency. Close quote. Keir Starmer wanted to show the public he would take the party in a different direction from Jeremy Corbyn and move on from Brexit. I think the country is absolutely sick and tired of divisions, so when Keir says we've got to move on, those divisions are over, I think it strikes a chord right across the country, she said. What the PM did this week was essentially to set us back 3 years in 3 short days and reopen, not just old arguments, but old wounds. In the middle of a global pandemic, the country doesn't want it. She warned the government of unfurled shock and anxiety among foreign allies, which could take years to overcome. It's hard to overstate how much the actions of the last week have really diminished Britain's moral authority in the eyes of the world. There is a big job of work to be done to repair those relationships. But asked whether the UK could ever rejoin the EU, she said, "That's an argument for a future generation. It's not even clear the option would be there. I've felt for a long time and now the argument is over. We've now got to find a way forward." Nandy warned the public lacked confidence in the government's coronavirus plans going into the autumn. It has shown such chaos and incompetence. I think people are baffled about whether it has just given up altogether. People are just very scared, she said. There has been a sense since the Dominic Cummings incident that people can't really trust the government and they don't trust some of the things they're being asked to do. They want some leadership in this country and the government isn't providing that, and people are starting to see that. Close quote. She insisted Mr. Starmer was exactly the right person for this moment. But Nandy, who stood against him in the leadership contest, ruled out still wanting the top job herself. phosphorus outbreak. Hell no. Anybody who went through that leadership contest would take a very long, deep breath before they ever decided to go into one again. I want to be Foreign Secretary. And she denied she had been given the role to keep her out of the way, although the usual globe-trotting has been replaced by video conferencing world leaders from her attic. It would be an odd thing to take somebody you consider to be a rival and to give them one of the biggest platforms in the world as a way of trying to keep them quiet. Close quote. She laughed. The shadow foreign secretary insisted it was absolutely right that UK had a relationship with whoever was in the White House despite her previous criticism of Donald Trump. I suppose it's an open secret who I would be voting for, she said, but we need a relationship with whoever is in the White House. Close quote. The MP revealed that Labour had already been in contact with the Trump administration, but she denied the party was behind Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden's tweet warning the UK to take care of the Good Friday Agreement. The UK was squeezed between the two global superpowers of China and the US and needed to have a constructive approach to both while building up its own strategic independence, she said. It also meant standing up for British values, but she added, there are no global problems that can be solved without the government of China. Ms. Nandy wants to rebuild the link between global affairs and people's everyday lives. She cites her local football team Wigan Athletic, which plunged into administration when its Hong Kong owners pulled the plug over the pandemic. We ended up at the mercy of the global system controlled by big money, where the institutions that are supposed to protect us failed, she said. What we do overseas has to deliver on people's priorities here at home. If we can protect the things that matter to people, that symbolize their sense of community and sense of identity and pride in the place they live, then we really are failing. Close quote.